it comes down to what Donald Trump doesn't get. America is great because America is good.
The most important difference between our plan and that of our opponent is that our plan will put America first. Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo.
The Democratic and Republican conventions have both wrapped up. Of course, neither was without drama or controversy. Here to break down the current political landscape is Mike Crespin. Thank you so much for being with us, the Associate Director of the Carl Albert Congressional Research and Studies Center at the University of Oklahoma.
Thanks for having me.
Quite a title.
Yeah, it is.
It's a long title, but
is.
We appreciate your time. I want to start with this. So the DNC wrapped up last night, RNC last week. Pick one word, maybe the word that comes first to mind when you describe the DNC.
Historic?
Historic, perfect. And the RNC?
Scared.
Scared? Mm-hmm. Scared or scared? Scared. Why scared?
Well, I think that was sort of what the RNC projected, right? Donald Trump wants to make us scared, and his goal is he thinks he can make us safe.
So you have to be scared in order to think you need someone to come and
Correct.
make you safe. Sure. So who would you say won convention season?
I think the Democrats had a better convention. They had more heavy hitters. I think they probably projected a better message than the Republican Party.
Okay. Who are some of the heavy hitters that you think really may have swayed voters?
Perhaps Michelle Obama. I think she probably gave the best speech of either convention. Bill Clinton gave a real good speech, or storytelling, I suppose,
Sure.
for Bill, President Clinton. Those are probably some of the best.
Do you think Hillary did enough to convert those Bernie Sanders supporters? I saw a tweet. It was a quote from an Iowa delegate, and he said something like, Bernie Sanders had been feeding us Mountain Dew, and now he's telling us to go to bed. It's not going to happen. Trying to convert those Bernie Sanders supporters over to Hillary Clinton.
Probably some. I think she did the best that she could. Some of her policy stances have moved to the left. Her idea of tuition-free college for some and debt-free for others is a real, I think, concession to Bernie Sanders. She won't get all of them, I don't think.
Sure.
But, perhaps some.
And going into the DNC, looking at some of these numbers, Trump led Clinton double-digit margin when it comes to who is more trustworthy relating to the economy and terrorism. Did she do enough to make some strides there?
I think so. I think the Democrats portrayed a lot of strength. I remember a speech by a Marine general that said, look to our enemies, we're going to come and get you. Hillary Clinton is very hawkish. I don't know if everyone understands that, but she is.
What do you mean by hawkish?
She's not Bernie Sanders, who wants to sort of come home and stay safe in our country. She's willing to project power in some ways.
Do you think the convention was clouded too much by the DNC controversy, the drama relating to the party leader having to step down? Those emails were leaked. Do you think, that was on the first day.
Sure.
It seems like it was a year ago when it happened. Do you think that clouded or confused the convention a little bit, distracted from it?
Maybe a little bit, but I think, as you said, it was very early. Debbie Wasserman Schultz isn't, not everyone likes her, I guess, and so, it's okay. I think that will be forgotten.
Want to go to the other side of the aisle before we run out of time. It's no secret Donald Trump has offended people, different groups of people, Muslims, Hispanics, maybe even some women. Did he do enough at his convention to be a little bit more welcoming to different groups of people, different groups of voters?
I think he tried. They tried to have different types of people talk, but I think he keeps on saying things that it's not going to help him as much. He said the other day he still wants to have a ban on Muslims or register Muslims in the country, and I don't think that's going to help him.
He tweeted something along the lines of Hillary Clinton won't even say the words radical Islam when this country is under attack. Do you think that's going to be a dividing factor between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump?
I think so. I don't think she's gonna move in that direction to say the words, but she portrayed strength, I think, last night with her speech and the speech by some others.
Donald Trump also offended Ted Cruz a little bit, maybe his wife and family, and that led him to not completely verbatim endorse Donald Trump at that convention. Did that matter?
I think so. One group that Donald Trump needs to pick up is the evangelical vote, and I think Ted Cruz does well with that category. And he didn't do anything to help, sort of pull those two groups together.
No, he said vote with your heart and just go down the ballot. Yeah, he did. And then Melania Trump's speech, this had the internet going crazy. Allegations of plagiarism, Michelle Obama. Does that matter?
I don't think so. You know, she wasn't going to play a big part in the campaign. She gave very few speeches, you know, leading up to the convention. It was doubtful she would give many afterwards. I think people will just sort of, you know, they'll remember, but it's not going to sway any votes.
What was your reaction to seeing the side by side of Michelle Obama's speech from years ago to Melania's speech that we saw last week?
I mean, my first reaction is, who let this happen, right? There's supposed to be pros who say, like, look, that's plagiarism, go with something else. That was my gut reaction.